we are looking for people who are along the lines of thinking that you and I are talking about or trying to express, like, get ready. Now's the time to get your house in order. The 7 years of feast are over. The 7 years of famine. Now, I'm using that as a metaphor for this analogy, I should say, is it's going to be longer than 7 years. So get ready now. Do what you can now. And we're actually looking for early adopters.
Is 2022 the year we see capital rotation out of risk assets like crypto and stocks, jumping into safe haven assets like gold? Gold investors haven't been losing sleep over the stock market's taper tantrum, with Blackstone warning of a lost decade, quote unquote, where stock market returns are anemic. We have Goldman Sachs, Bank of America, and Wells Fargo all forecasting gold over $2,000 an ounce in 2022, and Bloomberg says there's the potential for $3,000 per ounce on their price targets. Learn how simple it is to add physical gold and silver to your portfolio ahead of the rise in inflation and predicted price rises. Patriot Gold Group has the no fee for life IRA, where your IRA or 401k can be in physical gold and silver. Call 1-800-356-4470 and get a free investor guide today. And with the knowledge that Patriot Gold Group is Consumer Affairs' top-rated gold IRA dealer from 2016 to present, click on the link in the description box below for more information. And now on with the video. And good afternoon, everyone. Jeff Raymond. Remember, he and I did March 2017 an interview, The Real Martian. You'll find that in my playlist, where we were talking about agriculture, indoor agriculture in snowy and cold weather environments for bioregenerative food and energy production systems. Because it's great to talk about a problem, and you could do that all day long and just feed the fear. But what about a solution that people know they can take action, know that there is a possibility for them to move through this the best way possible with the best chance of, still living and thriving during these changes. And one of the base things is food, no society, no food, no civilization. This is going to be a solution-based episode more than it is, talking about the problem, but we do need to frame it on what both Jeff and I see in the next 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 2 year, before you might realize why you want to think about indoor ag or greenhouses or just ag in general that you can put some automation into. So Jeff, thanks for joining. And at this time, and this crux of change where everybody's going to have to throw away that TV remote and get back to growing food and get in community base, I'm hopeful for a lot of things, but I think that's going to be one of the biggest hurdles to overcome is shaking people out of that reliance that something else is going to come and save them. Superman ain't coming. You're the Superman. Yeah. Or the superwoman or the super it, whatever you want to call it, to save yourself. Yeah. Humanity is not going to be saved by something else except individually you. And that's the hard thing to impart. It's a difficult thought to come by,
Yeah, if we all stepped up to our true potential, the world truly would be a better place. But what I see that makes me even more mad than the savior thing is the idea that you can't. I have seen, and that only the elite can. And I've never used the word elite in this sentence when I've gotten on a soapbox before, but given today's world, clearly you see an elite class taking form. And it becomes very, very clear that the training that we've gotten is you can't do it because you don't have a PhD in that area, or you didn't go to school for that, or you haven't been trained in that, or you don't have 20 years experience in that. So you have to listen to other people because you're not capable of. And on the Real Martian channel, that's one of the things I've tried to inspire young people to overcome is the idea that you can't. If you want to, you can. It's hard. You're going to have to sacrifice. You're going to have to embrace the suck and go through the pain of learning, of failing. But you can. And I know I've hired people throughout my career that, they're put into positions where they can't do things. And I challenge them to go beyond that. And they come out the other side better because they're like, I never knew I could do this. And what we need are more people out there going, yes, you can. You can grow food. You can do that. You can put a shoe on a horse. You can go clean stalls. You can make it happen. I see the next thing is the pill popper generation, right? Where's my pill? Where's my pill for that? Where, I don't have enough time to go eat right. Just give me a pill for that. Hey, I don't have enough time to go fix my sexual life in my head. Just give me a pill for that. We all want the fast fix. And instead of putting the time and effort in to actually deal with our problems, we're going for the quick fix because that's what we've been told. I'm going to turn on TV programming and see Cialis, Viagra, this, that, the other, all these pills that you can take now. They're pharmacia. They're going to be worshiping their pharmacia, another biblical reference. And sure enough, we are. Our little magic, our hocus pocus. Here's your pill, make you feel better, make you stop worrying. What's that scene from James Bond? I got a pill to make you not worry. This one makes you not forget. This one makes you happy. This one makes other people happy. There's a pill for everything. And I see the combination of all these, the propaganda that they give people about some government's going to come save you. The one I hate, the I can't, or you can't, you're not capable of understanding. You're too stupid. Like, give me a break. Slap somebody up alongside the head and put their head back on right. And then the pill popper generation, I think a combination of all those things, David, is what really puts us in a bind from a human standpoint.
Well, it's interesting you brought that up because most of the pills that we see today are manufactured from natural plants. Like just the other day, a friend of mine who helps me out here, we needed to cut some willow trees down along the tree lines. Most people, when they're going to try to harvest willow bark or do something to get aspirin, they only take a very small percentage of the plant. And, we cut down whole trees. They're only about 20 feet tall, a few inches in diameter. And it wasn't any like major 100-year-old willow tree. I mean, these were just little saplings that are 15, 20 feet tall. They were bending over toward the apple trees and shading them out. So we cut those down and we went through the trouble to find out. We dried the barks, which is still drying. We used the stems, and then we used a pocket knife and scraped the stems. And then we boiled it, changed the color a little bit red to make our own aspirin drink. And then at the same time, use an ultrasonic separator. I have an ultrasonic, it could be used for cleaning jewelry. A lot of people, you can, remove elements out of plants to create an aqueous separation for tinctures and then mix that with alcohol. Again, we're trying a gamut of just doing something real simple like aspirin. So when it comes down to it, wild foraging for your medicines is one thing, but then what you have there, can you grow medicinals at the same time to have sort of your natural pharmacopoeia growing fresh right there? Because again, you can take it all the way you want. Like, there's going to be nothing, or you can learn. There's how many thousands of books on wild foraging and the medicinal Gardener's Bible. And, there's a million different topics of medicinals and hunting medicinals, growing them, using the forest. I had a person who helps me with my bees was saying, hey, you should get this book about farming the forest to be able to plant different types of things within the forest without having to disturb the land. Because, we got creeks over here, we got hillsides, we got a little flat, we got different types of mixes of part of it's pine, part of it's what you consider regular broadleaf forest with oak and hickory and these sort of things, to be able to plant plants under the forest to be able to grow naturally. And then the mushroom, we do mushroom forage, but I've only ever found 3 varieties that I'm confident enough around here to pick. But, going back to it, people used to grow the medicines. People have a medicinal garden. Don't think that it's not available. You just have to have a little more knowledge. And how do you prepare it after you grow it? So, I'm curious. Could we do some medicinals in there?
It's so amazing that you're asking it. I was talking to David at Oppenheimer Ranch there. Actually, it was yesterday, and it's fortuitous. We're all talking about these things, and you having your experience with the bark there, and then asking that question. So on Monday, actually, I leave for North Dakota State University. It's like -10 there right now. It's gonna be really cold, but we're donating a tower to them. And the reason we're donating is they partnered with an organization called Grand Farm, which is a large farming initiative in North Dakota, try to modernize and do similar. We're a part of what they're trying to do. And so we're going up there, and North Dakota State University, the the professor there that will be leading the grow effort here with his PhD students, they want to grow culturally responsible or applicable medicinals. So they're going to be using our tower, and they're going to be cultivating different medicinals. As they learn how to use it, they're going to be experimenting with different medicinals and growing them there, because a root chamber is larger. You can do more things with it. It's not your traditional hydroponic solution where you have very small root chambers. We have a very large root chamber, which gives you more opportunity to do things. And it's a much larger, when you look at systems like the one I'm sharing, ours is different when you look at it. And there's what I'll call the consumer level. Here's the low end, kind of like we're talking about sensors. It's the same problem. It's you get this consumer level product. It's like your Aero Gardens, your $200, here's 8 pieces of lettuce. Then you have your high scale vertical farms or, major greenhouses, which, we have solutions for those that we're working on back. We started with the hab. Now we're down the tower and we're going back up. So we knew where we wanted to be. We learned those lessons. We learned the big lessons about what it takes to be commercial. We learned those right up front because that's where we wanted to go. And then through what I believe is God ordained, we got down to these things that we're trying to get out to consumers. And now we're building back up to that. We're laying the foundation. And where I think we're at is we're that prosumer. We're those consumers who actually want to eat the food off of it and not just have it as a table setting. This is for the people who want to grow medicinals for real. This is for people who, if you're growing cannabis, you want to grow it for real. You're not just doing a single pot in your closet and it looks like, you're growing weed, in your closet. You want to grow it for real. I'm not a big fan of people smoking marijuana to get high, but the medicinal effects of it cannot be argued with. It is very, very good for you. And compared to opiate-based solutions, honestly, I'd rather have cannabis. So bring on the weed. And I don't smoke it, but I think it has great capabilities compared to other options that are out there. And with an opioid crisis going on, I think good alternatives that are healthy and natural are absolutely on the table. And the system that we developed, and like I said, I literally land in North Dakota on Monday. I'll be there for 2 days setting this up. It's going to be front and center downtown Fargo. It's -10 outside, and they're going to be growing their crops in it right in a big glass window. So for everybody to see, I couldn't be more proud or excited or nervous. This is our first major rollout to someone who's not nearby. Their airplane rate of flight away, but it's scary for me as an entrepreneur, but it's a good kind of scared. I'm excited, and it's going to challenge us at Eden. I guess kind of trying to move into the wrap up phase here, David. Thank you so much for this time, but it was like we're launching. We are looking for people who are along the lines of thinking that you and I are talking about or trying to express. Like, get ready. Now's the time to get your house in order. The 7 years of feast are over. The 7 years of famine. Now, I'm using that as a metaphor for this analogy, I should say, is it's going to be longer than 7 years. So get ready now. Do what you can now. And we're actually looking for early adopters for our product because we think it's a great product. We've tested it. We've grown multiple crops in it now. And we think it's at the point where it's good enough to get out to people. It's not done yet, but it's good enough to get out to people through a sale and to support hearing directly from them in what we call the early adopter program, and which is part of our overall Feed the Future initiative. Bart Womacker, CEO of Eden, he believes strongly in the future of food. And he has started an initiative here at Eden that we call Feed the Future. And it's doing all the above. It's growing in your garden. It's working community. It's teaching people how to grow. It's growing medicinals. It's using our systems, using other people's systems. But what we want to do at Eden is create a cultural movement to feed the future. As part of that, we're seeking people who are early adopters who would like to purchase a tower today at basically our cost. We'll ship it to you, and then you call me. You literally get my phone number, and you get to tell me what you like and what you don't like, and we include you in the design process and your feedback. It's the opportunity for you to be a part of this initiative, to be a part of a community that really wants to create independence on food and the energy front for local communities around the world. And we are actually trying to get this to NASA and go to Mars too. I mean, if you could build a system that works on Mars, and this is where the real Martian comes in, if you could build a system that works on Mars, it'll work really well here, and it'll be really efficient here. And why wouldn't you just do it that way? And so that's kind of where we're going. So with that, over to you.
All right. Well, I guess, like you said, we'll wrap it up there. EdenGrowSystems.com, Jeff Raymond. And I'll leave links below in the description box so you can just click and go. It's super interesting for me also with these new devices that are even more efficient, that are down to the average consumer can use it, versus having it be super high tech and trying to put together something that most people are unfamiliar with. You know, because you think in levels of tech of what you can put together. I mean, if I gave you like your solar system there, even with just 2 panels, and I gave you all the parts and said, all right, put it together, that would be outside of the scope of most people's understanding. You get maybe 10% that would get it. But you know, to truly even we've been so dumbed down. And I go back to Radio Shack, because when I was a kid, I remember going into Radio Shack, they had these little tiny drawers and you pulled thousands of things out and you could build and mix and match and make your own any electronic device. But you go in there today and it's like all finished products. There's nothing else to buy that you can make off the shelf. And then how many kids today have the pleasure of taking apart the old washer or whatever device or appliance that was when grandma and grandpa were going to throw, or your mom and dad were going to throw away, or the kids, man, you take that thing apart and you found a magnet in there and you didn't know how it worked.
Yeah,
like, kids just totally don't do that anymore. Like we're really technologically super, super advanced, like double monitors and camera systems and all these things. But how does it really work? I mean, it's so advanced that almost nobody knows how any of the tech works.
Yeah.
And it needs to come back down to the average person can clean it, because keeping your growing area clean, making sure you got some simple fans running through there because airflow is super important, and bring it down to everybody can understand it. Nutrients, food, water, air circulation, and light. And then
you got it.
Everybody can understand that pretty simple formula. And if you can get the tech down to that, water comes in here, blows out aeroponic nutrient mist into there, roots grab it, grow. You're going to be looking for this, 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 and this. Set your lights like this, put them this far down from the plant. And I love the LED lights, all one spectrum LED lights, because, you know, in the old days, you had to keep raising your lights because it would burn the tips of the plants. It would burn your plants. You know, now these things are really efficient and they cover a lot more area. And again, you know, how many people could take, let's say you got 200 feet on a strip of the LED lights and you rolled it out and then you cut them into how many people could just simply solder and wire those together to get the whole panel to work? Yeah. Not so many.
Not too many.
Not so many. How many people even know how to get a soldering iron to heat up, and how do you get how do you unwind, get the solder to melt onto something, you know? We all did that as kids playing around, but the new generation doesn't. So it is going to be coming back to simple is going to be the new tech. I think we're going to have to ditch the super high tech to move forward with a simpler tech, at least for food and communications also.
Yeah. I would love to talk to you again one of these days in the future. You know, thoughts on the second economy. When you say what you just say there, to me, it's the birth of the second economy, which I don't like, but I think we're going to be forced into. For people who refuse to bend the knee to what I'll call the B system, you know, is we're going to be forced to do things differently than what we've done before. And, you know, it's not just Eden, but since I'm working for Eden, I'm kind of talking about that, is we're trying really hard to give people an enablement through the second economy. Like I said, part of our digital platform is the digital farmers market, where you can put your stuff up and barter and trade. And, you know, we're talking about building that on blockchain, so it's a secure thing. But, you know, my concerns regarding blockchain, I expressed earlier. But either way, we want to be able to use technology. We want to be able to use fire in a way that keeps you warm and healthy instead of burning you. I guess I'll end with that. It's like, I think at Eden, we're doing a good thing with technology rather than what I see other people are doing, which is using technology to hurt you.
Yeah, and imagine if it comes to the world where you have to communicate by ham radio or CB radio because your markets are closed, and there's no more farmers markets, and you get on and you squelch on, okay, channel 5, all right, we'll be over at this location for 30 minutes before the police come, and we'll hurry up 30 minutes to go do your trading, and then everybody disappears out in the woodwork using that old school communication, because growing your own food and trading it's illegal at that point. Oh, what a world we're going to step into.
It's coming. We're already seeing it. If you don't use these seeds, it's illegal for farmers. Don't use certain seeds because of the crops that are next to them.
Yeah, it's the same here too. In restaurants, there's an Amish farm near here, and we got a lamb, and they slaughtered it, and then we butchered it ourselves. But we were talking to one of the restaurant owners, and we're like, why don't you buy from the Amish? They got, calves and cattle down there too, sheep, goat, all these things. He's like, well, no, if it doesn't come from the USDA approved facility with the stamp on it, we can't serve it in our restaurant. I'm like, wait a second, you got an Amish farm right here. That's some of the best meat on the planet.
Yeah.
But they still couldn't use it in their restaurant. See, there's all these hoops and hurdles that keep you locked in the system. Well, Jeff, thanks for joining me. I hope that this system is another way that we can get one little baby step further away from centralization and get back to the lives that we really want to lead without all this intrusion and more self-sufficient. So thanks for the time.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dave, for having me. I really appreciate it. This has been a pleasure.
All right. See you next time. And anybody who watched to this point, please leave your comments below what you liked about this, what you think we could go more in depth into, because I know there'll be a lot of people say, hey, get him back on again, get him back on again. So whatever you liked, what resonated with you, or anything that you see in the future also, what's your glimpse of the future? Leave it in the comment box below, and we'll have a little conversation down there, and I'll see you next time.